Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. I want to thank you for joining us today, joining the Spiritist Talk series, which is promoted by the United States Spiritist Federation every Saturday, not Sunday, every Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. I am here today and delighted to host this talk today by Alba Morales. Hi, Alba. She will be talking about a really interesting title, Pre-Existence of the Soul and Pre-Birth Experience. I want to, along with everyone here, Alba, give you a warm welcome. And before Alba starts her presentation, please allow me to introduce her for those who may not have had the pleasure to know her beforehand. So, Alba, he, she has a really interesting bio. Alba Nydia Morales, she has a bachelor degree in psychology and pedagogy from Universidad, forgive my terrible accent, Universidad Pedagogica Nacional, and a master's degree in education from Pontificia Universidad Javeriana. Those are both from Bogotá-Colombia. Alba has been working in this field, education, for more than 30 years. And in fact, she's been involved with different age groups, working with workshops, classes, conferences, and more. Currently, Alba works as a school community and family specialist for Anne Arundel County Public Schools in Maryland, as well as an adjunct faculty for oh my goodness, tongue tied this morning. My apologies, everyone. Uh, in Arundel Community College. Alba is an active member of the Spiritist Society of Baltimore since 2006. So 21 years strong, Alba. Thank you. Thank you so much for all you've done. And she has been coordinating their children and youth Spiritist education program. I want to take this moment to say, please send your questions during the presentations in the chat window. Alba will be able to address your comments and questions once she concludes her presentation. And I just want to say thank you, Alba, and I am looking forward to your presentation.
All right. All right. Hello, everyone, in the present time, in the future, in the spirit realm, in the material or physical realm. So allow me to do two things here. I'm going to set my timer. Here we go. And I'm going to share my screen. Okay. Here we go. All right. So I just want to let you know the background of this topic, of why we went for this topic of the pre-existence of the soul and pre-birth experiences. It is because we have been doing a series of talks about the afterlife, what happened when we discarnate, what happened at the exact moment when we are discarnate, when we are moving the spirit out of the body, what happened with the family members and the energy, etc. So it's everything about after the physical life. And also we have been working or talking about the near-death experiences, right? So then we found this fantastic documentary that is in Amazon, and I'm going to provide you with the title later. We're not going to show any of the clips here, but you can go and check it, and it's in YouTube too. And it's about pre-birth experiences and the pre-existence of the soul, the concept, the notion that all human beings we have in our conscious. So I was like, this sounds different. And I just love it, the topic, because in a personal level, I had a pre-birth experience. So, but we're not going to tell it. I'm not going to tell my experience. I'm going to tell you some experiences from other people. But just to start, we would like to read this excerpt of a poem from the book Eternal Bonds of Love by Ricardo Petrillo, Spirit. And his father, Claudio Petrillo, is the medium, and his mother, Sylvia, now her last name escapes, she's also helped in the putting together this book. And he says, in the beginning, they sleep. We're talking about the spirit, the human spirit. Then it came our feeling, light and color, followed by movement, motion, and reaction. We could run away from danger. We could get closer to our own. We had no awareness, our spirit, no reasoning. Our spirit then, in primitive form, was granted the gift of thinking. And then is when we have all these marvelous experiences as human beings. So talking about this notion of the pre-existence of the soul or the spirit, this is something that we can go way back in history to ancient civilizations and Egypt and China and the Hindu civilization, even Mayas, Incas, Stoicas, so on and so forth, Babylon, you name it. There is this innate notion that we weren't created, our spirit wasn't created at the same time our physical body. So there are so many research and registers about this. So, for instance, in the Egyptian civilization, as we know through the book, To the Way of the Light, when the author narrates, I think it's Emmanuel, narrates how the planet Earth was populated by the spirits that were brought from a very distant star from planet Earth that is called Capella. And we're talking about primitive planet Earth. So Capella was in a similar state in which planet Earth is right now. We are in a moment of transition. We are in a moment of shaking everything, right? All of our moral values, because we need to evolve and to grow. So this was this chaos and crisis in Capella. And there were some spirits, very smart, very well educated with a lot of experience about technology and science and so much advancements. However, they didn't evolve morally speaking. They weren't doing good use of all this knowledge to put it to the service of their people. On the contrary. So what the high spirits decide is to take this group of rebel spirits and bring them to a less evolved planet, at the time planet Earth, and put them here to boost our planet Earth evolution, and also to provide them with an opportunity to develop the moral values. So they have a meeting in the spirit realm with Jesus, and Jesus welcomed all of them. Anyways, the situation is they reincarnate in different points of planet Earth. One of them, it was Egypt. So they had all this knowledge. Obviously, when we reincarnate, thanks God, we forget, we have our memories in in a zip file, very back in our subconscious. We don't remember, but they have the intuition. So therefore, they venerate all mothers that were pregnant, and they also venerate the spirits that were coming to their town or their village or wherever they were, just to give you an example of the pre-existence of the soul in antiquity. Then we go to Plato, and in several of his dialogues, he was preoccupied by the pre-existence of the soul. And we know that Plato is one of the philosophers that also touched in the topic of reincarnation. St. Augustine was a defender of the pre-existence of the human soul. And St. Augustine, we can see some of his texts also in the Gospel According to Spiritism and also in the Spirit's book. And Immanuel Kant, the great German philosopher, he developed 3 separate arguments about the human's pre-existence and, in his words, before the material form. And just to give another example, John Knox, he was a Scottish minister, a reformer, and he said that we all intuitively recognize a soul that precedes our mortal form. And just to give you day-to-day examples, if we are having a conversation with a friend and we say, if I weren't born in Massachusetts, I think I will born, I don't know, probably in the Netherlands. When we express that, we are giving a space to say that if I weren't born in Massachusetts and then in the Netherlands, it means like I am before my physical body. But this is philosophy and we're not going there. So just to give you a very quick example in history about the pre-existence of the soul. Now we go to modern days, and there is a plethora of books, literature, documentaries that have been created, written by different authors in different specialties or sciences. Just to give you an example, and we are going actually to give more information about Sarah Hinds. Her first book was Life Before Life. And the documentary that we are going to be talking about is about all the works that she put together about stories of families, parents, mothers, grandparents, having these dreams or these intuitions or these encounters with the spirits that were about to arrive to the family. So then we have Life Before Life by Richard Eyre. Down to our left, When Souls Had Wings. And we wanted to bring Dr. Raymond Moody talking about Life After Life. It is a classic, but it's so interesting that this complete the cycle, right? We are in the spirit realm, we reincarnate, we go back to the spirit realm. And about the book, When Souls Had Wings, the author, Terrell Gibbons, it is so interesting because here he used some cosmogonies, meaning explanation of the creation of the world and how the world was populated. And these cosmogonies, we found it in different cultures. In the Christian literature, the cosmogony is Adam and Eve in the paradise. That's an explanation of how we inhabit the planet Earth. But here he takes a cosmogony that is common in different cultures around the world. And it's this idea that we all are fallen angels, like we were living in heaven or in a spiritual place. And in order for us to descend to a less pleasant plane, we needed to shed or to get rid of our wings. We know in Spiritism, spirits, we don't have wings, we don't need it. High evolved spirits, they volitate, but wings are not necessary. But this is a symbol of the freedom that we have in the spirit realm before being shackled, let's use that term, to the heavy and dense physical body. So this is just some examples. You can go, if you Google, and you will see hundreds of books, and as we say, documentaries, etc. So saying this, we are going to the documentary. It is called Remembering Heaven. It's from 2022, and as we mentioned, it's in Amazon or in YouTube. For the sake of time and also because of copyrights, we're not going to show the clips. So we're going to see the introduction of this documentary, how this came about, why they create this. And then we will show you the case number 1 about Glenda. So the author, Sarah Haynes, she is the mother of 9 children. And in all of her 9 pregnancies, she had different experiences even before conception, like having an intuition about who is coming, or an encounter with the spirit that was planning to reincarnate as her child. So in one of her pregnancies, after she had the baby, she started thinking like, I am the only one who is having this experience. Like I know who is coming, like someone that I know. I have this encounter, this intuition. And we're talking about the 90s. So she decided to write like a letter with a slip down and say, if you have some of this experience, please complete this slip, name, address, etc., etc. And she mailed this to newspapers in different cities across the state and even internationally. She mailed this. So after a couple of times, she started receiving back, and she found this collection. She put together this collection of very profound and beautiful stories, not only by mothers around the world, it also fathers, grandparents, siblings, that they have these pre-birth experiences. So her husband, he is a psychologist, also helped her to put everything together as if were a research, and is when she published her first book, Life Before Life, and it was a phenomenon here in the United States. She was a renowned author by then, and people is asking her for a second book, etc., etc. So recently, they decide to bring this to the Power of Image, Sound, and Color documentary, to bring this knowledge, to expand this knowledge even further than the books and the research that they have been doing since the 90s. So we're going to see Glenda's case. And one of the things that we like about this documentary is not a spiritist documentary, but even though it has concepts that we have in our doctrine, in our philosophy, and our science, and our religion as a moral compass. All of the stories and more, they are based in Utah. And it seems like at least the stories that they use in the documentary, it seems like the families have something common, and they have a lot of kids, 4 kids, 7 kids, 15 kids, because they belong to a specific religion. This is something that we conclude they don't express that. So Glenda's case. Here is Miss Glenda. She's a retired nurse, and she had 4 children. So back in the 70s, when she was pregnant with her first child, she was just a few months pregnant, and she was having some difficulties with her husband. They were just married recently, 1 year ago or so. They were both adapting to the new life, and she was feeling very miserable. And she expressed that in the documentary. Like life didn't have a meaning for her. She argued with her husband frequently, and she was like, what I am doing? She was kind of lost in her decisions in life. So one night she had an argument with her husband. She went to her room, lay down on her bed, and she was crying and crying, and she was praying, and she was trying to figure it out if she made the right decisions. And she was in this mood when all of a sudden she saw a 16, 18-year-old girl standing by the door. And she didn't express any concern, or she wasn't afraid. On the contrary, Glenda was fascinated by this young lady with long hair, very serene, very serious, yet very friendly and kind. And she just looked at her in awe because it was irradiating such a light from her gown, from her dress, that Glenda describes. It was like a full of light. And in this moment of awe, this girl approached her and stand up next to her bed. And again, Glenda is not having any negative emotion. On the contrary, she feels like everything is coming down. And without moving her lips, this girl tells Glenda, everything is going to be all right. And Glenda felt it. And she wanted to give a response, to reply, but she wanted to do that. As soon as she wanted to do it, this spirit disappeared. And Glenda was in such a peace of mind. And she fell asleep. And the next day, she was about 4 months pregnant. The next day, it was the first day that she felt a movement in her belly. And she knew that this spirit is going to be her daughter. In the documentary, they show a picture of the, currently is an adult, right? She was born in the 70s, but a picture of this girl when she was about 18 years old. And that's the way how the mother saw her. So this is just the beauty of the creation and the beauty of justice and mercy of God. That in the moments of distress, there is always someone comforting us, and especially in this brand new expectant mother. So now we're going to see, based on this case, what Spiritism says to us. We want to start making a difference between the term spirit versus soul. So spirit, we all are spirits. We all come from the spirit realm. We were created simple and ignorant at some point back in eternity. So we are all spirits. So then when we reincarnate, when we are linked to this body molecule by molecule, we call it soul. But it's the same. It is a spirit attached to a physical body. Spirits, they don't have the dense physical body. They have another body that is ethereal, that is the perispirit. But we don't go that way now. And the soul is when we are incarnated, right? We say, oh, my soul. That's the first differentiation that we wanted to do. And then we're going to use these concepts from the book Genesis by Allan Kardec. In chapter 11, we found that the codifier says the idea of perpetuity of the spiritual beings is innate in human beings. We knew we're coming from there. So deep inside of us, we have that notion, as in the Spirit's book, the laws of God, they are in our conscious. So same this concept. It exists within them as an intuition, a yearning. Sometimes we are missing a place and we don't know what place it is. It's the spirit realm. And Spiritism shows the intelligent being acting outside matter, whether after or during the life of the body. So, without a body, we have a life. With a body, we have a life. And when our body decays, we have a life as a spirit. And then Kardec asked, Accepting the spiritual being and the fact that its source cannot be found in matter, the spirit and matter, we don't have the same source, like water and oil. Then, what is our origin? What is the point of departure? Where is this store in which we found the baby spirits there? How is this? And there is a long answer. We just brought here an affirmation. And the answer of the spirits is God has not given them, humans, such knowledge, not even throughout revelation. Why? Very likely because we won't be able to understand yet. Because our level of evolution, we cannot grasp yet a lot of concepts, magnificent concepts that we have an intuition, we kind of have a feeling, but we cannot point a finger yet. It's like if we compare humanity in the times of Jesus. Jesus talked to the people in parables, in the way they understood at the moment, with the words, with the examples that they were able to understand. But later on, right, when Kardec comes and codifies all the Spiritist teachings, our humanity is a different level of evolution, and we are able to understand concepts of the pre-existence of the soul, reincarnation, multitude and inhabitant worlds, etc., etc. So we don't know yet. We know we have an origin, a beginning. We won't have an end. And then it continues saying that what God does say to them throughout his messengers and what humans can deduce otherwise by themselves from the principle of supreme justice, which is a quality attribute of God, is that all humans have the same point of departure with the same equipment and qualities and tools. We are created simple and ignorant, with equal aptitude for progressing by means of their individual activity. So basically, it's giving this, God is giving all of us the same equipment and tools to start our journey of evolution, but it depends on us, individuals, about what are the decisions that we are making along the way. So therefore, some of the spirits, they evolve faster and quicker than others. Some others, we need to repeat lessons several times, reincarnating 1, 2, 3, a billion times until we get the lesson and we get to a different level of evolution, right? So then Kardec is asking about the physical body. Why do we have this specific human form? So the spirits answer that God, instead of joining the spirit to a rigid stone or to some other material, it was created an organized and flexible bodies capable of receive all the impulses of the spirits and the spirit's will, and lending itself to all its movements, meaning this physical body, these apparatus that have been evolving through the years, right? When we found primitive men, cavemans, to nowadays, our physical bodies have been changing because they need to adapt to the new levels of intelligence and moral evolution. And this is happening right now also, friends, when we are receiving in planet Earth more evolved spirits that are helping us to do the transition. But these bodies are not appropriate for their intelligence. So sometimes we're not going that way, but we see some conditions in children. And it is because this instrument, like a piano, is not appropriate for the level of evolution. And another interesting thing is like us, the spirit, the mind that is located in our spirit. We are the ones who have control of our physical bodies. All right? And we have a grandchild here, but we are going to continue. Okay. So then we go to the reincarnatory plan, and this is just a brush about. It's very shallow when we're going to talk about it. So there is a team of spirits that is working either with us. We can take part of this reincarnatory plan. Depends of our level of evolution. So let's say we are in a decent level of evolution. So this reincarnatory plan is a framework of what is our new reincarnation going to be. So instead, it's not like a fatalism or destiny, and we don't have anything to do about it. No, on the contrary, it's through our free will and our decisions that we are following more or less the reincarnatory plan or not. And again, in Genesis, it says that it must be stated that is the spirit itself that molds its own envelope and renders it adequate for its new requirements. In other words, the spirit tailors the body to the stature of its intelligence. That's what we were talking about, right? And we have a team of spirits that are cheering up for us and helping us to create this reincarnatory plan. And therefore, since we are talking about pre-birth experiences, so then is when these mothers, these fathers, these people, they dream about a baby that is coming. They dream, the woman dreams about being pregnant. It's not even in her plans. Here is one of the babies that we were waiting 8 years ago, that we had the experience of feeling it when he was coming. I don't know if the camera shows or not. But anyways, and this is the way in which parents that are incarnate on planet Earth are participating of the reincarnatory plan for this spirit. Meaning there is a meeting that it says, hey, so-and-so is coming. You're going to be the mother, you're going to be the father, and you accept or not. No, all cases are the same. There are some reincarnations that it calls compulsory reincarnation, in which the spirit is in such low level of evolution that they don't even ask anything, because it's not possible for the spirit to discern. So it's just compulsory. The good spirits create the plan for this spirit. All right? So we're going to our second case, Christine. Christine is a special case. So we're going to narrate what she experienced. But if at some point you feel that is triggering something on your emotions, just mute for a couple of minutes until we finish narrating her case, and then you unmute and we continue with the presentation. So Christine is the mother of about 11 or 12 kids, some their own and some from her second husband. She had a first marriage, so she had 3 kids, and then she remarried, and the second husband had 3 kids, and they have like a 6 or 7 of their own. Unfortunately, one of her pregnancies, she wasn't complete. The pregnancy was a hard experience for her. But anyways, she's here in this pregnancy, and it's like the 8th month, and they say months, they don't say days. So 8th month. And all of a sudden, she wasn't feeling well. And she didn't feel movement in her belly. She was like, what is going on? She decided to drink orange juice. Apparently it has a lot of sugar, and sugar wakes up the baby. So that's what she did. No movement whatsoever. She lay on her belly because that specific baby didn't like mommy to lay that way on the belly. No movement. She called the doctor. The doctor say, hey, Christine, you better come here. She say, okay. But she retires for a moment in a little parlor, in a little room that she has to pray at home. And she's sitting there, concerned, crying, anguish and anxious about what is going to happen. And she's crying and praying. Interesting, crying and praying. The first case was the same. And she holds her belly and asks the baby, what is wrong? What is happening to you? How can I help you? She was there, and again, in the corner of this room, she sees a girl, also like a teenage girl, giving the bag to Christine. And then Christine just stared at the girl, and the girl just turned, and she turns so graciously. And Christine narrates that her hair flips very beautifully, and the girl was smiling, again was serene, and Christine couldn't believe what she was just experiencing. And from that corner, the spirit talks to Christine and say, thank you for my body. And Christine couldn't understand, well, why? Why are you telling me this? And actually the baby, she was planning to name her Shalom. So after that, she was kind of in some sort of shock. So then they go to the hospital. She talks with the doctor. The doctor says, well, it's your decision. We can let Mother Nature to take its course, or we can try to do something. Christine says, doctor, I want a miracle. You believe in miracles, doctor, right? And he says, yes. She says, I want a miracle. So she's entered to the surgical room, and they gave her some anesthesia to do a C-section. So when it's coming back from all the procedure and the anesthesia, she looks at the doctor, asking with her eyes, what happened with my baby girl? Where is she? And the doctor say, Christine, we tried for 23 minutes to resuscitate her, and we couldn't. And obviously, the devastation of her soul. A couple of days later, in the ceremony in the cemetery, she was with all her family, and her brother approaches and tells Christine, do you know what shalom means? She says, no. And he says, shalom means hello, bye, and peace be with you. And at that moment, everything hits on her mind like, oh, so my baby came and say hi and bye and brought a lot of peace, this spirit, in 1 minute. So then Christine put it together and said, that girl supposed to be the girl that needed this body, but she didn't need it anymore for some reason. And no Christine, knowing the documentary, give explanation of why it was a stillborn baby. Anyways, what is Spiritism telling to us? So in the Spirits book, Kardec asks the spirits, why is life so often cut short in childhood? And they respond, the length of a child's life can be for its spirits the reminder of a former life that had been cut short before its due term. So it could be that the spirit of Shalom needed these 8 months in the belly, right? That time that couldn't complete it in a previous lifetime. However, moreover, the death of a child is often a trial or an expiation for the parents. It's something parents need to go through. Pain and suffering, they are good teachers for our soul. And then Kardec asks, what becomes of the spirit of a child who dies very young? it begins a new existence, a different reincarnation. So we want to conclude, finish this very brief presentation, a very social deep topic. This is a teaser for all of us. We found this, the timer is running. Okay. I did not begin when I was born, nor where I was conceived. I have been growing, developing through incalculable myriads of millenniums. And this is anonymous. We are eternal spirits, and our true life is the life of a spirit. And we manifest either before we reincarnate or after we depart to the spirit realm. With this say, we thank you.
Alba, so beautiful and quite profound. I know you mentioned you're going to be very at surface level, but it's such a profound topic. Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you for all the reflections, right? Today we heard from Alba about the pre-existence of the soul in pre-birth experience. But for all of you who are here today, please stay with us for the Q&A session that will start shortly after a few announcements. First, and thank you. The 18th Spiritist Conference of Georgia is coming up in about a month from now. May 17th and May 18th in Mableton, Georgia. And the conference is entitled The Divine Justice, and it will be a celebration of 160 years of the book Heaven and Hell by Allan Kardec. The next is another very, very good opportunity, the 19th U.S. Spiritist Symposium. It is the United States Spiritist Federation annual national event, and it will happen on September 20th, 2025 in Ann Arbor, Michigan. Please save the date and join us to reflect on the evolution of consciousness, a path towards enlightenment. There'll be activities for kids, teens all day. And I believe the registration is open now, so be there. I'll be there, so look forward to seeing you as well. We do also want to bring to everyone's attention about the podcast-like series, Psychology and Spirituality, A Bridge to a Better Life discussion, which is based on the works by Joanna De Angelis. There is a new episode every Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, and they are available on YouTube as well as Spotify. Finally, almost finally, there is a new book release, The Spiritist Review 1865 by Allan Kardec. The Spiritist Review of that year is available at spiritistbooks.us. Amazing content there. And the Spiritist app, Be My Hope, it is available now on the App Store or Google Play. And this app is awesome. It offers uplifting content in a collection of videos, daily messages, audio materials. Go ahead, download it now so you can have it. And I think we have more. Yes, now available 7 free, professionally recorded Spiritist audiobooks. They are sponsored and produced by the Spiritist Society of the Carolinas at your own pace. You can now listen to Allan Kardec's foundational works, and they're available on YouTube at Spiritist Society Carolinas. I believe we have one more. So on the screen, please note there's a QR code. If you want to help the U.S. Spiritist Federation produce more publications and promote Spiritism to everyone, scan the QR code on screen for your donation. Thank you. But let's now turn our attention to your comments, your questions. There's still time to submit yours, so please feel free to share your thoughts. Alba, it's all about you. So we have here Arthur. Hold on, I cannot read so small. Arthur Burton, and he said, you shared a story about advanced souls coming to this earth. Could you share where that story was from? And I think it was Emmanuel to the way to the light, right?
Mhm. Yes. And you just say, Marsha,
Go ahead if you want to tell Arthur
from the
who
book
are they?
To the
Yes.
Way to the Light from Emmanuel. And it's actually the whole book is the story about how the planet Earth was populated. So it has two origins. One is spirits that were created to inhabit planet Earth, right? And it's mostly they were living, or we were living, we don't know if we were there, in the African continent. And then it comes all this civilization from Capella, and they spread in the areas of Egypt, India, China, and I'm forgetting the Anglos in Germany.
Mm-hmm.
And they develop different, as we know in history, they develop different um, eh, sciences and techniques, etc., etc. So it's On the Way to the Light by Emmanuel.
It's a great book, by the way, Arthur. So
Yes.
thanks for the question. Let's see if we have another question. So United States Spiritist Federation sent the following question. Alba, how do Spiritist teachings on pre-birth contrast with or complement other spiritual or religious views?
Mhm. We would like, and thank you, United States Spiritist Federation. We would like to start by saying that Spiritism, we don't hold the truth, the whole truth, as neither all the different religions or spiritual philosophies. We complement each other. And right now we forget when Kardec asked, it's in the Spirits book, very likely, Kardec asked to the spirits if Spiritism is the religion of the future. Like if all of us, we are going to become spiritists at some point, 1,000 years from now. And the answer for the spirits were no, no, no. We will know the truth when we are more evolved, when we have our moral wing. That's the two wings to progress. They're imaginary wings, they're not real. Is our moral development and our intellectual development. So the moral development is all about the love, um, charity, service, tolerance, indulgence, forgiveness, right? And all the intellectual that it means you need to learn how to sew a button in your sweater, to physics, etc., etc. So we complement each other, but we don't hold that truth per se.
Thank you. Great explanation. Yes. So we have another question, Alba. How has your understanding of pre-existence influenced your own spiritual journey? Maybe you can share
Mm.
with the public here.
Mhm. I want to start by saying first that Spiritism has been helping me by providing me with a lot of hope. Hope in the sense that I know I wasn't a really good person in the past and I'm trying to be better now. And I will be in the future, that there is a better future awaiting for us. So how that persistence influenced me? Yes, right. When I 2 years before I had my son, he started like knocking the door and presenting to me. I was brushing my teeth, and behind me, here he was. So and he presents in the form of a boy. So I wasn't scared. So thankfully, by that time I was living in Colombia. Uh, my aunt, and I'm giving you personal information here, disclose. My aunt is the director of a spirit center there. So it was a perfect assistance because I shared this with her, and she said, "Okay, seems like a spirit wants to come through you." And I wasn't planning to have a baby yet, things of the sort, but he was very persistent. And it helped me also to remain serene and calm when you are experiencing this type of encounters. Like it's not spooky it's not, I don't want to use the word, but it's not like I'm going to get afraid. No, there is a logic explanation. And we can see it in the Spirit's book. The communication between the spirit realm and the material one is normal, is in the day-to-day life. We all, including the U.S. Spiritist Federation person there, all of us, right? We communicate in a daily basis with the spirits. Oh, Alba, no, I don't see spirits. It's not necessary for us to have ostensible mediumship with our thoughts. All day we're thinking and we're having this inner conversation. And sometimes we feel like we are talking with ourselves. And no, let me tell you, we're talking with the spirits around us. Just to finish this part, we're talking with the spirits that we attract to us according with our acts and our behavior.
I love it. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. So Muhammad Tahir is saying, I think Spiritist teaching on pre-birth are more active than other religions. Souls, according to Spiritism, is active even before birth. Do you want to comment on that, Alba?
Thank you, Muhammad. I don't have a deep knowledge in other religions, so I can tell really if we compare Spiritism with other religions. I know about Catholicism, for instance, because I grew up like that. So if I compare Spiritism with Catholicism, I will say yes, definitely the spirit is the center of our studies and the sense, right? Yes, in Catholicism, we don't learn that we are in the spirit realm. However, if you go to the art history, the religious Catholic paintings, Michelangelo, etc. He wasn't Christian, but they reflect like these little angels on the sky is a reflection of spirits living in the spirit realm. So somehow it's entangled there.
Yeah. And I don't know if this would help, Mohammed, but a very basic distinction between soul and spirit, I think Alba mentioned earlier, right? So according to the work in Genesis by Allan Kardec, the soul is an incarnated spirit. It just simply means that it is a spirit that has come to have a corporeal life. And when they are no longer in the body, they can be called as the same thing, but it's the spirit versus the soul. But when you talked in your question about active, right? I think those distinctions also go beyond the idea that we do have a spirit, a perispirit, and a body, right? And knowing that life itself, there is that pre-existence life, which is the topic of the conversation, right? The pre-existence life before birth and after the death of the body, that sense of continuity is really important for all of us, and it really changes our mindset, right, Alba? That's I
Yes.
think what you were talking
Thank
earlier,
you,
how
Marcia. Yes.
your knowledge really helped really guide, inspire you, etc., etc.
That's right.
Oh,
Oh,
Muhammad again. I'm from Pakistan and I'm reading spiritual literature from days. Love to hear that, Muhammad. Thanks for sharing. I read many spiritual literature, but find peace in spiritism. Unfortunately, there is no spiritist in Pakistan. I don't know if you mind, Alba. Let me maybe give some information to. Yes, so we're saying please visit the International Spirits Council. So for anyone out there beyond Muhammad that is looking, especially if you are in different countries, right? The International Spirits Council, or SEI in Portuguese, or ISC in English, is the central organization that really unites all spiritist institutions worldwide. And so they may guide you, Muhammad, and anyone out there, to local spiritist centers and resources. So use the website there, right? Say dash spiritistcouncil.com, and they can provide you some information. And one more thing, Alba, if you don't mind, I just want to say that the best thing about reaching that organization is that in addition to providing that worldwide spiritist directory, they also provide access to events, conferences, and access to spiritist literature in different languages. So they can be there to guide you in connecting you to the spiritist center closer to you, right? There's some study materials, spiritist book, and quite frankly, free online libraries. So
Mhm.
if you have any additional question, feel free to reach out to the U.S. Spiritist Federation. As you know, our website is spiritist.us. We'll be able to give you additional information. But thank you for the question, and I love to hear that you are searching for more information. So I have a question. How might deja vu or strong instincts relate to pre-birth existence? What are your thoughts?
Hmm. Okay, that deja vu concept is the feeling, the impression that I already lived this, but I don't know how, right? And I think that if we're in the present time having that impression that I already went through this, I knew it, that deja vu, and probably I'm wrong, Marsha, I don't know, is different, like memories from the past. Because we are talking about the present time, that we foresee in the present time somehow. That's how we understand deja vu,
Yeah,
as opposite some memories from our previous existence in the spirit realm, or in the other reincarnations, and we have that by intuition. So
mhm,
how to know who we were in previous reincarnations on the spirit realm? And Kardec says in the spirit books, and also Joanna de Angelis says, look
uh-huh,
at your tendencies.
yeah,
Look at your tendencies, and you will see who you were previously. Now that we can have an intuition on what is going to happen in the future, yes, some people, they are psychics, they can envision. This is not a very common skill for us, but it's possible.
mhm. I have to share something to you,
Okay.
Alba, and everybody else. I have no sense of direction. It is, I think, the neurons for directions are not in my brain, right? And it always has been like that. But the first time I went to France, to Paris specifically. It was this bizarre 10-day deja vu feeling, Alba. And I did not have to look for a map or GPS or anything. I knew, and for anyone who has not been in Paris, the city center, they're all about six-story house, 6 stories of all the buildings. They're really give no sense of where am I outside of the Eiffel Tower. It didn't matter. I knew exactly where to go. And it
Wow.
was very funny because I called my dad at the time, it was many years ago, and he said, "You too." He went through the same thing when he was a student, and he lived in Paris for a while. And
Wow.
he said it was exactly how he felt when he first got there. So,
Oh,
deja vu, everyone. We can talk about a glitch, as in the movie The Matrix, right? There is an iconic scene, or questions of Marvel, right? The
mhm,
movies, the Marvel universe or metaverse, or this idea of pre-existing
mhm.
pre-birth memory, which is quite fascinating.
Yes, yes. Thank you,
Yeah.
Mercy.
So I think Arthur said, you mentioned talking to spirits as we go throughout the day. Yeah, a good thought, Arthur. Can you speak a bit more about this? Just talking to spirits conversationally, not formal mediumship, just talking, chatting.
Yes, yes, because when we discarnate, when the body dies, we discarnate because of the body dies. It's not us, the spirit, and we are found ourselves in the spirit realm. We are
Mhm.
thinking, acting, feeling the way we are doing right now. So if I'm a spontaneous person and I like to chat a lot, I will be exactly the same in the spirit realm. So when we having these conversations, very informal conversation, there are spirits there that are chatting with us with their personalities or their characters. Some of them they can be the benefactors, spirit benefactors of your home or protectors of your home, your guardian angel or your special mentor. But there are some other common folk like you and me, like all of us, that they are connected to us. What is this movie, Marsha? With Gervais is the actor. Godstown, I think.
Uh,
Ricky Gervais,
uh,
Godstown, that
yeah,
he's a dentist and people start following him. It's something like that uh, with some minimal differences. But this is not to create fear on you, it's just to be more conscious about our thoughts. So if we're thinking positive thoughts, if we go to our day-to-day struggles, but we don't lay down in our sadness or desperation, but like we move forward, right? We just clean ourselves and stand up. And when we pray, when we meditate, when we are connected with nature, when we serve others, therefore we will attracting spirits that are like-minded. So it's not for us to be afraid or is something like it is spooky. It's for us to be conscious of the power of our mind.
absolutely. Great explanation. And there's one more question. If a soul can choose its family, body, or even the trials it will face, why suffering is a choice? So I think we're
There
talking
are,
about the
yeah,
planetary reincarnation, right?
yes, yes, and there are two great teachers to learn the lessons in life. The first one is when we follow, I'm going to use the word obedient. When we are obedient, I don't find another thing, to the loves of God, and the loves of love, charity, and justice. And we go through that part and we won't encounter that much suffering. However, we think that we know better. So we are pride, we know our pride, we are selfish, and we are rebellious. Like in the state of evolution of the spirits in general in planet Earth, because there are so many levels, we are this teenage spirit that we want what we want at the time that we want it, and not when the father, the mother, the creator, their divinity is telling us that you need to get this later, right? We are that rebellious spirit. So, what is the other great teacher? Suffering, pain, because it helps us to cleanse, to I don't have another word, to cleanse all these other things that I told you, our selfishness, our pride, our vanity. So it's like a cleansing process. It's I'm so sorry for the example, really. But when you are 40 up, you need to do this every 5 years exam of your colonoscopy, and you need to clean this, and it's not pleasant. But you are cleaning, you are doing something good for your body at the moment, but the experience is not pleasant.
Yeah, I find it interesting, the whole idea that suffering is such a big topic, right? You mentioned Joanna de Angelis, for
Mhm.
example, and if we just start reading about suffering in the work that she brought to us, ah, my goodness, there's so much that it's hard to pack swiftly in an answer. But I would say it is a tool for us to accelerate our progress, to
Mhm.
learn, in other words.
Mhm. But we have the option, Marcia.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
can decide we go through that or not.
Yeah. So I think we are at time, Alba. And oh, we have one more. Great, great. What lessons are we meant to learn when we realize our soul has existed long before this lifetime?
If it's okay if I say everything,
Yeah.
just imagine the body of knowledge that it is in a university. And as a student, you register for only one career. So you are focusing in that path, in that journey. However, there are so many other careers around you that you're not going, you don't have the time physically to do it. You can go, you can do it. You can have as many careers as you want. But at the same time, I'm telling you, just so here is economy, here is law, here is education. So I focus on education, my life. I focus my life in education in this lifetime. But there are so many other careers in that university. That university comes from the Latin universe, right?
Yeah.
Everything that we need to learn everything. So we need to learn all the possible lessons in the moral aspect and in the intellectual one.
I love how you explain that, right? So there's not enough time, even if you're a lifelong student, still not enough time. Love
Mhm.
that. But I want to say, I think we are at time. Yes, Marisa is saying beautiful. Yes, Marisa, I concur. Beautiful, beautiful presentation. And Arthur is saying thank you so
Thank
much. I
you.
love that. Appreciate you. I want to also give this heartfelt thanks to all of you who are here today, who joined us to listen to you, Alba, and to all of those who, if not today, but regularly follow us on our weekly Spiritism Talk series. It is because of your continued engagement that we are here, and it is indeed truly appreciated. But as you can see on the screen, I want to invite all of you to join us next Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern for our upcoming live session where Anna Moreno will explore the topic of survival kit for the planetary transition. I can't wait to come back and listen to that. We really want to see you back and to, get more of your participation. Your questions are great. But because it is time, I'm going to ask back to you, Alba. Can you, before we close the live, could you end it with any final remarks that you want to share?
Yes, absolutely. We all are spirits in a terrestrial journey. We wear our physical body as a temporary dress for our spirit that needs to go through different experiences and learn. And we want to give and to express our gratitude to the supreme intelligence, to the divine creator for his or her or its unending love, justice, and mercy, that we always have an opportunity to get up after we fall, and that we always will have his or her love and his or her support all around the way. We did it in previous lives. We already overcame so many trials and tribulations. We can do it in the present one. And we are so very grateful for this current reincarnation and for this present moment.
Thank you, Alba. Thank you, everyone.